Hi, folks. This is our unclear on the concept clip for this episode.
ChatGPT, do my email for me.
Wow. Well, Rikko, what do you think?
Does that poor man have to say that every day?
It's quite a challenge, isn't it? You'd think you could just tell ChatGPT to take care of your email for the rest of your life, right? You'd be good. But no, every day apparently. But you know what it does is it sets the stage for today's topic. And that is AI a brain booster or a brain buster? Does it make us lazier and less sharp, or smarter and more productive?
Kind of feels like both are possible. It depends how you use it.
The wisdom of Rikko sets the tone again. If you're listening to this as a podcast, you can watch the Unclear on the Concept clip at theprofessorislive.com or on our YouTube channel.
Well, let's see if I was right.
Exactly. We'll get this show rolling.
Welcome to The Professor is Live with Mark Salisbury, Professor of Computer Science at the University of St. Thomas. In each lively 25-minute episode, Mark and producer Rikko Smart dive into topics shaping our world, featuring expert interviews and engaging live audience participation. Discover groundbreaking ideas for the future and timeless wisdom you can't afford to forget, all infused with humor and charm. Leave every episode feeling inspired, informed, and optimistic about what lies ahead. For more bragging about this show, go to theprofessorislive.com.
You know, Rikko, whenever I hear that introduction, I always think it's for us, because so we'll feel more inspired. All right, folks, I'm Mark.
The charm line.
Oh, in case you haven't guessed, I'm Mark Salisbury, and welcome to The Professor is Live. I'm here with my producer, that's Rikko, right there down in the corner, and we're exploring a big question. Is artificial intelligence making us smarter or dumber? Is it a brain booster or brain buster? The reason we ask this question is that recently, researchers at MIT made headlines with a study suggesting that people who use chatbots like ChatGPT to write essays might actually be dulling their cognitive abilities. The study showed regular users had lower levels of theta brainwaves, you know, the ones linked to learning and deep thinking. For those watching, the video version is, yes, that's a ChatGPT image behind me showing a brain being helped by ChatGPT.
Because science?
Exactly. So here it is. I'll get kind of out of the way, and you can see it's episode 12, and we can see ChatGPT, and it's actually kind of being interviewed and talked about. All right. So, but you know, this concern is actually more widespread than this one study. Researchers at Microsoft and Carnegie Mellon have warned that over-relying on AI could lead to what they call cognitive atrophy. And that is, too much AI could mean less creativity, more gullibility, and what about this? Less connection to humanity.
No, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, and so all of this worry is happening at the same time when trust in AI's output is already shaky, right? Hallucinations, when AI just makes things up, are common. And combine that with reduced ability to spot bad information, and it's a recipe for confusion. But let's be fair. We've been here before, Rikko. Remember when calculators first showed up in our math classes?
Well, yeah, they were expensive and awkward at first.
Yeah, and supposedly dangerous. Well, for myself, I got obsessed. counting students in the lunchroom, counting floor tiles, until I stopped talking to people and just typed numbers into my calculator.
I used to count ceiling tiles trying to look a little more optimistic. Didn't speak to others because I'm an introvert.
Exactly. I don't think they're buying this out there, Rikko. Yeah, no. The point is, new technology always brings some anxiety. But is AI different? Could it actually help us think better by handling routine tasks so we can focus on the deeper work? So to explore that, we talked with Dr. Victor Law, Professor of Organization, Information, and Learning Sciences at the University of New Mexico. And here's what he had to say about it. Welcome, Victor. You've done a lot of work on how humans solve problems. So tell us, in light of this MIT study, do you think that using AI tools harms human problem solving?
Actually, this is a very interesting study. But before I answer the questions, I think like there are two main characters here. One is the AI tools and the other is human problem solving. So for the AI tools, most of the time we think about ChatGPT or something like that. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot more other AI tools. They are more specific. So I think like we need to understand like what AI tools is it about. Of course, in that study, it's a very general, like throw them into ChatGPT and do whatever they want. So this is a big challenge, like to understand like what the effects of the AI tools on human problem. And of course, if we solve one question and say like giving like people just ChatGPT may not be the best solution. Yeah. And now like this is the main reasons why ChatGPT have that many like plugins. So that like people can use it for more specific, like it's make it a more specific tools. And now the big part is the human problem solving. So and the task like it was a writing task, is a very general writing task. So what it means is probably AI tools may not be the best for the writing task, like for this big, but like there can be others because when I study problem solving, there are two types of problem solving. It's a well-structured problem solving and the ill-structured problem solving. And AI tools like to solve some well-structured stuff probably is a pretty good idea. Yeah, because it's kind of getting to the later, like your other questions about the tedious stuff. So, but like for ill-structured problem solvings, what AI can actually do? So what will be the human agency in that process? So again, I think it's a hammer and nail problem. So what is that hammer and what is that nail?
Well, that's, and I think about this too with, they showed, back in the study is that people who constructed their own text, right, for email, their brains were working. And the other ones who were using ChatGPT, they weren't doing much at all. And I think about, if we just took a bunch of high schoolers and we had a group with calculators and another group that had to actually add up a bunch of numbers in their head, I think the ones that were adding up in their head would be pretty busy.
Yes.
They have a lot of brain activity, right?
Yes.
And but that doesn't mean that we should remove calculators from the classroom. Yeah. So I think this is similar in that regard.
Yes. Like I think like I always think about like the calculator questions. Is it like now like everybody use calculator? So we should let everybody using it. But the question is it an important task? Yeah, for a particular problem. I think at the end, like the users or like in the learning environment as the professors, instructors needs to ask that question. So I use an examples like in my school life. So I learned Java, and like when I program it, like of course I was a learner, and I spent 3 hours to figure out I missed a semicolon. And from that on, I never forget like putting that semicolon on. Because I knew that it's stupid. But like the question is, today, do we still need people to learn that syntax? So they, of course, they need to learn that. But the question is spending 3 hours like to get that difficult problems, is it still a worthwhile problem?
Exactly. Well, in the old days, as professors, what we call this is it builds character.
Yes, yes. But characters are important too.
Well, and I have a class where I have some students do some Python coding, right? And then they do it to analyze data and stuff. And I just say, use ChatGPT. Just go ahead and use it. But, it's just like getting code from your friend. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's actually more work to fix the code than it is to write it yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Actually, I saw another study like saying exactly what you are just talking about. So they said like senior programmers, they don't actually spend less time, but they spend more time. But kind of in the second level, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the second level, like those people actually can spend less time. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, and then so that I have another question written down here. You just have to follow some structure.
Oh, of course.
So if AI can handle the tedious parts of the process, right? Like finding that semicolon you're talking about, doesn't that free up people to really focus on the big thinking things that they're going to be doing to like develop software programs?
Theoretically, yes. Yeah. Of course, like then like you already define like there's a tedious part. So I think like that tedious part has to be defined from situation to situations. So maybe like in a like let's say in a Python class, there are some students they only need to use Python for some of their kind of basic work. So for those people like that, like semicolon may not be important. So I'm not a computer scientist, but I suppose that for a computer scientist like who needs to go up like all the way up, then maybe like that semicolon is important. So depending on the context, so there may be different. So the definition of the tedious part can be different. And I think that this is the challenge because most of the people do not think it through. So this is kind of the workflow issues, like in the internet like in the internet age in the 90s. So the challenge is that like people have not been able to change their workflow for like this new technology. And I see like probably it's the same situations here. So people haven't really think through the workflow yet.
Yeah. And what parts do you actually have to know at such a level that you never forget, right?
Exactly.
And that's our challenge, I think, as educators is what should we actually now be teaching, right?
Exactly. So I think like this is something like for all educators, needs to reflect on like the whole curriculum, like from K all the way to like even master doctorate. What our curriculum should look like for the new world.
Yeah. I mean, it's except in a much bigger way. It's redesigning our math curriculum so people use calculators, right?
Yes.
And the challenge to mathematicians, this is what people tell me, is that they have to make sure that their students really know these operations, whether it's division or multiplication or the square root of something or standard deviation, right?
Yes.
Stats, that they actually know how those are calculated and what that concept really stands for.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
I remember like when previously I have talked to people regarding to SPSS versus R, and some people arguing that like the people using R, they are better to understand the statistical concept because they need to write out the code. Versus SPSS, they just check. Like when my professor say check this box, they didn't really think about what does it mean by checking that box. So I think at the end, like the platform, the tools that we use do have an impact on how we think.
Yes, I think so too. I'll go back to that coding in R though, is that, people who like coding and are in computer science, they just think it's always good.
It solves some problems. How about this? But it can create another problem.
Oh, okay. So in the long run, getting back to this MIT study, I think they were actually answering the wrong question, right? I mean, especially, I don't think the folks at MIT are doing this so much. It's other people looking at it and going, wow, those brains have gone dead there. There's no data waves going there, right? And in reality, what we really need to be looking at is overall, right? When people are doing a larger process or project and they have a whole lot of things going on in design and conceptualization, what are those brains doing there, right? And so can tools AI kind of tools actually help people stay in that upper level where those brains are actually very engaged.
So for this one, I take a more economic view or business view. I remember like I talked to a professor from NYU, and he said it depends on the market. If people don't like it, they won't buy it.
Yeah.
So like at the end is whether whatever things that we are doing, like business are doing, creating that gadgets will be good enough like for other people to buy it. If like people don't buy it, then like they have to think about like their processes. And some of the processes that are not good will be eliminated. And the processes that is doing good will flow up. So this is how I see it is probably the market will make the decisions so that the higher level thinking will survive and
Yes.
the lower level thinkings will not survive.
Yeah.
So this is how I see it. But like the question is how long the long run will be. So how long like the market needs to take like to basically do it. And in the meantime, what will be the impact on everybody, including like the workers, including the educations, like, so this is a huge problem.
Well, as usual, we can't rely on AI to solve it for us. It's us as human beings are going to have to sift this out.
Yeah.
And work on that. So, well, Victor, we're getting to the end of our time here. So I want to thank you for being with us today and help us clarify this study and think about our path forward. So thanks a lot for being on the show.
Thank you for talking to me. Like it's such a fun time. Thank you.
That's what Victor had to say. And I'm getting a lot of messages on my screen. Did we just go off the line for a minute there? Can you
Possible.
It's always possible, isn't it? Oh my goodness.
I just love his name, Victor Law. That is powerful.
Isn't that a great name? Yeah. And one of the questions that we get every once in a while, Rikko, is what's up with those images behind you, right? And so part of it is my preference that I like those old movies from the 50s, especially those sci-fi movies. And so when we generate these using ChatGPT, I put in for the commands, make it look like a 50s movies marketing poster, right? And be able to do that. And so I always think that I'm moving around so you can kind of see some of the parts of it here. It kind of looks like those old movies like the one that we had talked about just off camera here is, do you remember the one with James Arness in it? It was Creature from the Black Lagoon. Yeah. And so that's almost what this kind of looks like. And so anyway, I have an affinity for that, and that's where it comes from. So let's go back to here and let's say, I think Victor really cleared this up. And as Sean Connery said at the end of the movie, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, we now have illumination on whether AI is a brain buster or a brain booster.
I think technically that was Indy's dad that says illumination.
Well, okay, if we're being fact checked here, I think you're exactly right. But Victor's bottom line, AI isn't a brain buster. It's really a brain booster. And used right, it can stretch our thinking and spark creativity. So the takeaway, AI is just another tool.
So like a calculator on steroids.
Exactly. And like Steve Jobs said, technology alone is not enough. It's technology married with the liberal arts, married with the humanities that yields the results that makes our hearts sing.
You sly dog. You've been waiting to use that one, haven't you?
I've been looking for a place to use that for a long time, so I'm guilty as charged. So, hey, for you folks out there, if you're watching this live, thanks for hanging out with us.
And now you've left us with, now we have something to think about.
And what this does for us is we're going to wrap this up now. So watch past episodes and the unclear on the concept clips at theprofessorslive.com or on our YouTube channel. Podcast listeners, we're on every major platform, including Spotify. So, see you next time on The Professor is Live.
And seriously, subscribe and watch and listen.
The Professor is Live. Hosted by Mark Salisbury and produced by Rikko Smart. We go live on LinkedIn, then bring the conversation straight to you as a podcast. Catch us on YouTube or Spotify for full video episodes. Or listen anytime on your favorite podcast platform. Want the inside scoop on previous shows or a chance to bring The Professor is Live to your own event? Then head to theprofessorislive.com today. The Professor is Live. With Mark Salisbury, inspiring curiosity, laughter, and learning every week. Copyright 2025. The Professor is Live. With Mark Salisbury.